again, I'm Leah.
Hello, I'm Jeff.
Today, we're going to talk more deeply about the 100 citizenship questions. Today's question is, when must all men register for the selective service?
今天呢，我们谈论的问题是，什么时候所有的男性都要这个登录在这个 selective service 上？
There are two answers. They are at age 18 and between 18 and 26.
有两个答案，一个是18岁，另外一个答案是18岁到26岁之间。
The United States first instituted military draft during the American Civil War. Congress, in need of more manpower for the Union Army, passed the Civil War Military Draft Act of 1863.
美国呢，第一次有这个军事征召是在这个内战期间，然后国会呢，因为需要北方的军队更多人，他1863年通过了这个军事征召法案。
The act called for registration of all males between the ages of 20 and 45. Yet the obligation fell mostly on the poor. Rich men could afford to hire a substitute to take their place in the draft or pay $300 for a draft exemption, an enormous sum of money at the time.
这个法案呢，要任何男性到20岁到45岁要去登记，但是呢，其实这个义务大部分都是在贫穷的人身上，因为有钱的人呢，他可以找一个替代的人帮他当兵，或者是付$300，然后就可以不用去这个登记，那$300在那个时候是很大的一笔钱。
During World War I, the U.S. Congress passed the Selective Service Act on May 18, 1917, giving the U.S. President the authority to draft soldiers. The act required all men in the U.S. between the ages of 21 and 30 to register for military service. Within a few months, about 10 million men across the country had registered in response to the military draft.
在一次大战期间呢，国会呢通过了这个Selective Service 的这个法案，在1917年5月18号，然后呢，让美国总统有权利可以征召军人。那这个法案呢，让美国所有的男人在21到30岁之间呢，都要去这个做征兵登记，然后在几个月之间呢，就有大概1000万的男人这个登记征兵。
Draft resistance in the United States reached its peak during the Vietnam War. By late 1967, U.S. casualties in Vietnam had reached 15,058 killed and 109,527 wounded.
但是呢，在这个越战期间呢，这个反抗这个征召的这个气氛呢，到了一个顶点。到了1967年的年底的时候呢，美军在越南的伤亡已经有15058人死亡，然后有109527人受伤。
Each month, as many as 40,000 young men were drafted into service. Some men evaded the draft by failing to register with the selective service system or by fleeing the country. About 30,000 draft dodgers may have left the United States for Canada during the Vietnam War.
在这个越战期间呢，每个月大概有4万的年轻男性呢被征召到军队中。 然后有些人呢，他为了躲避征召他就是不去登记这个 selective service， 或者呢离开美国。根据加拿大当局的统计呢，在越战期间，大概有3万的这个3万人呢，为了躲避征召，跑到加拿大。
From 1948 until 1973, during both peacetime and periods of conflict, men were drafted to fill vacancies in the military, which could not be filled through voluntary means. The draft ended in 1973, and the US shifted to an all-volunteer military.
从1948到1973年呢，不论是在这个和平或者战争期间，这个男性都有可能被征召进入军队。假如他们的这个志愿役不够的话，那征召呢，在1973年结束了，然后之后呢，美国就变成全部都是这个志愿役的军队。
The Military Selective Service Act remains in effect today. However, there has not been any conviction through the selective service system since June 1973. While there have been occasional efforts to reintroduce the draft, most notably in the period following the September 11th attacks, the US military in the 21st century is an all-volunteer body.
所以呢，虽然这个军队征兵制度呢，还是到了今天还是有效，但是呢，从来没有人因为这个征兵制度呢，被定罪。好，自从这个1973年的6月以后，所以呢，虽然呢，但是呢，还是偶尔会有人会提倡恢复征兵制度，尤其是这个911攻击以后。但是呢，到目前为止，美国军队仍然是一个全部是这个自愿役的一个这个体制。
We hope you learned something from our video today. Stay tuned for more interesting background information about the 100 citizenship questions.
Bye bye.